Como estamos, mi gente? Welcome to another edition of Must Love Wrestling. As I sit here, I want to dissect what happened at the Elimination Chamber. Wow. I got to be honest with you. I have not seen a show this good in a very long time. From beginning to end, even the Grayson Waller effect segment was spectacular. I am genuinely happy with this pay per view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it. But I have to tell you, this is by far possibly the best pay per view we've gotten in a calendar year. From beginning to end, it was absolutely set up with nothing but grace. It was meticulous, and everything made sense leading into WrestleMania. I mean, we had two storylines added in one match, but we'll get to that. Why don't we start off at the pre show? We have, as we it was announced yesterday by Scrap Daddy Iron Pierce, that we have Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae from The Way. That was not intentional, by the way. They are wrestling the Kabuki Warriors for the tag team championships in front of a live, packed out audience of, now we know, of 52,000 people to get Indy, one of the Australians on the roster, in front of the crowd. What a good, solid opening match. This was a great way to kick off the show. I was very happy. Candice LeRae continues to show that she can be utilized anywhere. She is almost a Swiss Army knife of a professional wrestler. There is nothing this woman cannot do. She is one of the most special and underutilized talents on the roster. Indy Hartwell, although very green, she still looked and played the part really well. She was in there with three veterans and they led her through the match, and it looked really good. I was very satisfied with the way this show moved on. We moved right in to the Elimination Chamber after the Kabuki Warriors pick up the win. And before we jump into the men's Elimination Chamber, I just have to tell you, the Kabuki Warriors have shown me that they might be the greatest female-led tag team in the history of professional wrestling. Ever since women have just jumped up to the same level as the men, and sometimes higher, I have to be honest with you, the Kabuki Warriors always show up as like the top tag team. There was Sasha and Bailey, there was Sasha and Naomi, but I have to be honest with you, the Kabuki Warriors with Asuka and Kairi Sane, they are perfect with one another, and I love how slimy they are. They didn't even need the miss this time. They were able to pick up this W without needing outside interference, without needing to cheat to win. They just did what you didn't want them to do, and it works. It was perfect. Really good opening match. Great way to get the hot crowd in Perth, Australia, ready to go. And now we move into the actual card, the show of the year so far. And that's going to be something I say after pretty much every single time I talk about a match. We kick off Elimination Chamber with the women's Elimination Chamber match. And it has Becky and Naomi kicking things off as the other four women were locked in the pod. So we had Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, and oh my God, did I forget the last person? I believe I did. Wow. It's not like I run a wrestling pay-per-view here, a wrestling podcast here. But anyway, we move into the match, and I will figure it out before the end of this. We do move into the match, and it honestly, I have in my notes here, this was one of the better Elimination Chambers that we've gotten in a long time. These women showed out, man. They really, really put themselves in a great position for the future. And Becky Lynch looks like a massive star. She looks like there's anything she touches is going to be absolute gold. The women just looked like they are no longer taking a back seat to the men. They are trying to steal the show from the men. And I love that because My God, man. When I watched this match, I got to be honest with you. I came away from this match thinking to myself, Becky and Rhea have to main event WrestleMania. It's that clear. I don't want to hear this shit. I don't want to hear, oh, well, they shouldn't get the spot. It should be Drew and Seth Rollins. No, I don't believe so. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here trying to figure out who the last participant was for the women's match. I'm sorry. I did wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning this morning so I could watch this match. And it was Raquel Rodriguez. Coño carajo. It's almost like I just blanked. She looked really well in the match as well, too. But jumping back into it, what I have to tell you is I have to tell you that Tiffany Stratton came out the biggest winner of this match. And I really hope that WWE capitalizes on it and they don't pull a Montez Ford, because Montez Ford was in the last Elimination Chamber and he looked like the star, but then he just kind of went nowhere after that. And when I watched this match, I thought to myself, Tiffany belongs. I mean, this is her third match on the main roster, and she's already in prime position to be in a premium live event. Honestly, guys, I thought to myself, this woman looks like a 10-year veteran. I've said this before and I'll say it again. She is the closest we're ever going to get to Kurt Angle. Yeah, we're never going to get anything like this again. She was brilliant out there. Naomi, wow. There have been so many detractors of Naomi over the years. And I got to be honest with you, her leaving the company has worked for her in the same way that it worked for Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre, because she looks like a different performer. She works cleaner. She doesn't look as rehearsed. It's almost like she figured out while she was gone, she didn't need to sit and wait for spots. This match was fire. It was absolute fire to me. I would have put this as my match of the night, but we had a couple better matches during the course of the show. And as you know, as the resident women's wrestling fan here in the wrestling podcast community, I usually put a women's match as my top match of the night. But I have to be honest with you, I can't do that with this Elimination Chamber. I can't get over the severe shoving down our throats of Liv Morgan. I'm not saying I hate Liv Morgan. I'm not saying I love Liv Morgan, but I was saying that she's fine. I felt like there was really no need for her. The promo she cut yesterday was confusing. Cry about it. I'm gonna win this match, and I'm gonna go on the face. Like it comes off like a heel. She's supposed to be a baby face, and I don't know. I'm genuinely confused when I watch her. But everyone else in this match looks spectacular. Becky Lynch picks up the W after a really great segment. You have Bianca Belair going for the KOD on Becky Lynch. Becky reverses it, only for Liv Morgan to catch her in a roll up, get the 1-2-3. So now Liv Morgan has beaten Bianca Belair as well, which is a massive thing for her. And from there, she turns right into a manhandle slam. Becky Lynch does it standing, does not go down with her like The Rock does. And now we have our main event of WrestleMania Night 1. I'm assuming Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World title. These women showed out. They showed exactly what it's like to just go in there and get a show started. And I would not be surprised if every single one of these women walked through Gorilla and said, follow that, boys, because that match was fire. From here, we move on to the Undisputed Tag Team Championships with the Judgment Day wrestling the big boy, Tyler Bate, and the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. This match was better than I ever expected. My God, Damian Priest has just come such a long way. He's always been a phenomenal performer, but now he's able to work almost any style in pro wrestling. Those four men went out there and they killed it. I was so fascinated with this match. I could not stop watching it. I thought to myself, wow, this is one of the coolest things that I've seen in a long time. They looked genuinely like they had been feuding for months. Like this wasn't a one-off because obviously we go from we go from Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne to wrestling and beating Dom and uh JD McDonough to getting this opportunity. And now, yes, that match that happened a week ago because we obviously can't perform last night and today. That's not the way it works from the United States to Australia. But that match was okay, but this match was fire. I would listen, I would not be upset at all if this turned out to be a match that we got at WrestleMania as well, because the four of these men just showed out. Finn Balor is just a pro's pro. Damian Priest looked really good. Tyler Bate looked great. What a great way to showcase himself. Pete Dunne looked really good as well. All of his, muscle contortions and things like that. Like it, oh my God, I just love the four of these men and what they were able to do in this tag match. It flowed very nicely. I was super impressed with their ability to work with each other on such short notice. And I was very ecstatic with the finish of the match with we have the coup de grace and it's over, but it just looks so believable that no one is going to beat the Judgment Day. There was already people complaining on Twitter after this. Separate the tag titles, separate the tag titles. Oh my God. They're not just Cody crybabies, they're wrestling crybabies. That's what they need to do. They're just crying the fucking blues. Get over it. Just enjoy what you're watching and stop jumping on the internet to bitch and moan about something. We go from here to the Grayson Waller effect. Listen, now I may have screwed up the order of this, but I'm going in through it how I want to talk about it, what things that I thought made the most sense. From here, we have Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and they come out and they introduce Seth freaking Rollins and Cody Rhodes in his 45-minute entrance to the ring. God, I don't even understand. Like, are you just trying to kill time? Jesus, that was such a long entrance. I swear he walked backwards to the ring. Anyway, they go out there. Cody Rhodes sets a challenge to The Rock. He says he'll wrestle him anytime, anywhere. Seth Rollins shows up behind him, almost like the way they played the Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams stuff. Like, I'm going to tell you I have your back, but don't be surprised when I betray you. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Seth Rollins as the guy who's going to help Roman Reigns retain the championship at WrestleMania. That's my prediction. I think Roman Reigns is going to beat Cody Rhodes, and it's not going to be because of The Rock. It's going to be because of Seth Rollins. That's what my expectation is. From there, we have Seth Rollins announced that he is cleared in just a couple of days. So now Damian Priest can cash in again, right? That's what he said. I can't cash in because I can't have a match with him because he's not medically cleared to compete, and Roman Reigns is not around. So let's see what happens there. I was genuinely happy. I thought Austin Theory sold the stomp better than I've ever seen anybody sell it. It was really nice, really well done. From here, we move into the men's elimination chamber match. And wow, guys. The reason this match sticks out to me over the women's match is because very rarely are we provided with multiple storylines heading into WrestleMania season coming out of one match. And that's what we got here. So the winner of this match is Drew McIntyre, as the odds had predicted. Drew McIntyre wins this match, but not without some controversy. No, absolutely not. Not without some controversy. We see Logan Paul, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. They go out there, they perform, they put on a spectacular. Kevin Owens, they put on a spectacular show. We see these men just throw their bodies, just risk everything. I got to tell you, I have one negative thing about this match. Logan Paul really wasn't that involved until the end. I expected, with the talent that he has shown us over time, that he would be a bigger part of this match. I expected more dives. We only got one big dive from him. I expected so much more from Logan Paul, and I'm satisfied with what we got. I'm satisfied with what we got from him, but I guess I'm just gonna have to err on the side that I wanted a little bit more of a match, like a little bit more of a wow moment. But I know that they weren't trying to steal the main event spotlight. And typically we remember big spots from matches. So if you give us a really big spot now, even if the main event was 5 out of 5, I mean, that's what people are going to remember, the spot. So we have a very interesting dynamic. LA Knight hits the blunt force trauma on Randy Orton. Then LA Knight hits the blunt force trauma on Drew McIntyre. And before he can pin, out of nowhere comes AJ Styles. And he just beats the ever loving snot out of LA Knight. Now, I love that. Officially, they had been teasing this for a while. It looked like AJ was going to feud with the OC. They go to NXT. AJ stays in the main roster. Mia Yim is now doing, or Michin is doing her own stuff in the women's division. So now the group is completely separated. We have the TNA version of AJ Styles, the lone wolf, and now he's that in WWE, but he's a heel. And AJ as a heel is great for business. The guy is spectacular as a heel. He attacks LA Knight, very a la Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock at WrestleMania 17. He just beats the ever loving crap out of him with the chair, only for Drew McIntyre to roll over and pin him. So now we have storyline number one created at the Elimination Chamber. Now we have LA Knight having a match with one of the best stars ever in a match at WrestleMania. That's what I'm assuming we're leading to. Now, I pointed this out in a wrestling chat yesterday that when Logan Paul tweeted about Randy Orton, Randy Orton's reaction was, "I'll see you at the chamber tomorrow, Jake." And immediately I took that, screenshotted it, sent it to my boys over at Work in the Marks, and I said, this is the match that I want to see at WrestleMania, Randy Orton versus Logan Paul. This is a great way to showcase the United States Championship, quite possibly get Randy Orton a big W, have him the US champ, and Logan Paul gets to work one of the all-time greats. How can you ask for anything else? That's perfect. Now, we did get more into that storyline. I feel like it was an early prediction of mine because Randy Orton hits the RKO on Logan Paul as he's about to hit both Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton with his brass knuckles that he had been hiding in his tights the whole match. He pins Logan Paul, gets him out. Then we get a good 3 to 4 minute exchange between Drew and Randy. These guys work each other so well. Their marriage is going to be forever. Randy has so many dance partners in professional wrestling. This is just another one that you can just add to his checklist of being able to work everyone. Bryan Danielson once called Randy Orton the perfect wrestler, and I believe that that is true. Randy gets ready. He coils, gets ready to hit Drew McIntyre with the RKO, only for Logan Paul, who had actually never left the chamber, to come in, clock him with the brass knuckles. Drew McIntyre very slowly covers Randy Orton for the 1-2-3. And now we have second storyline setting up WrestleMania. Now the card is filling out nicely. So I assume we're going to get Randy Orton versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the United States Championship. Brilliant, brilliant. And now we get Drew McIntyre with, I'm assuming, his last shot to go wrestle Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania. Give me what I want. Just a really great showing. Really, really great showing. This would have been my match of the night if the main event hadn't happened. So yes, of course, Macho Rodriguez here, the Boricua Nightmare here, is telling you match of the night was the hometown favorite and Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax completely killed it. They were given about 20 to 25 minutes to go out there and perform, and this was spectacular. I was watching it with my 2-year-old daughter, with my 7-year-old son, and we were glued to the screen. What Rhea and Nia did in Perth will be studied for years. The transformation of Nia Jax to pre-termination to now is something that will be talked about in pro wrestling circles for the rest of time. When that woman was terminated from WWE, she was nowhere near this good. I don't know what happened when she left. I don't care. I will no longer hear any fucking slander about Nia Jax. That woman is one of the best wrestlers in the world. She went out there with the star of the company for the past year and a half and put out a 6, 7-star match. This match was, I mean, just beautiful. Listen, for all of my wrestling podcasters out there who have children, I am sure that you've tried to watch wrestling with your kids. I'm sure you've tried to watch a movie with your kids. And if you're anything like me, if you're lucky enough to have ambitious and adventurous children, you know that they can't sit still for more than 5 minutes. Maybe the toddlers can if you put on a movie. Like if I want my daughter to sit down because I need a break, I'm putting on Coco. And she'll sit down and watch it. But even so, she'll get up and she'll start dancing during the songs. My kids were glued to the screen almost like they were studying these two women. And I have to take a moment to tell you this story. While we were eating our breakfast, watching this pay-per-view, I told my son how lucky he is to grow up in this time in professional wrestling. Because as I explained to him, before I was born, there was the fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, Wendy Richter professional wrestling for women, where they were first or second match. They were able to go out there. Bull Nakao, Nami Toyota, they were able to go out there and just perform. But they were first or second match in the billing. They weren't taken very seriously. And in my teenage years, it was bra and panty matches. That's what it was. It was Playboy pillow fights. That's the type of women's wrestling we got. And then someone in NXT decided to give Paige and Emma the floor. And ever since that moment, women's professional wrestling has just raised the bar. From then, we have gotten such brilliant, talented performers like Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Bayley, Becky, Serena Deeb, Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley. And I'm sure I'm forgetting ones too. And I apologize for that. Oh, Mickie James, Trish Stratus, pioneers of this division. I no longer look at women's wrestling as just women's wrestling. I compare these women to the men. And a lot of the times when I watch these shows, the women steal the show from the men. They have the best match. Once again, this was the best match in the card. Rhea Ripley looks like she is a star that we will never stop talking about. I believe when it's all said and done, we will be talking about Rhea Ripley in conversations with Stone Cold, with Hogan, with Shawn, with Brett. There might be 2 other women we can throw in there. Oh, I don't want to forget about Bianca because she's so transcendent as well. Just because I'm mentioning women earlier. But there are 2 other stars that I see that could be talked about with Rhea like this, and that is Becky and Charlotte. I have just I was able to tell my son how lucky he is to see the women be taken seriously and be given their opportunity to shine and to watch him well up and to hear him ask me, why didn't they get the shot before? It just speaks to the little man that we're raising, to know that that's where his mind is, that they should have gotten this opportunity all along. And it makes me feel very proud that that's where my son is being raised. Because my son has a top 5 professional wrestlers, and Charlotte Flair is his third favorite wrestler all time in his 7 years, and he's always looked at her as a top star. He's never thought she's my favorite women's wrestler. He just tells you his top 5 and Charlotte's in there. And that to me is just, it's special. It's truly special. And to be able to watch something like this with my 2-year-old daughter and to watch her just staring at the screen because of how captivating Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax were during this match. I mean, I cannot tell you how proud I am as a parent and how proud I am as a wrestling fan to be able to provide something like that for my children. Well, anyway, guys, now we know that we're quite possibly going to get a handful of matches that have been discussed over the past year. So let's jump into these matches real quick before we sign off. We know we're getting Roman versus Cody. We know we're getting Seth versus Drew, Becky versus Rhea, Jimmy versus Jay, Randy versus Logan, AJ versus LA. The Judgment Day are defending their titles. Gunther's challenger hasn't been announced yet. Io versus Bayley. That match could steal the show. We need to be very clear. If I were WWE, the one match I would add to WrestleMania 40 is, now that we've acknowledged that Bianca Belair is undefeated at WrestleMania, I think she needs to put that streak on the line against Tiffany Stratton. Those two women can go out there and just absolutely be one of the greatest matches we've ever seen. And I'm excited for that possibility. I would love to see Raquel and Liv tag back up and go feud with the Kabuki Warriors. That'd be great for all 4 women. This might be the most inclusive WrestleMania, the most inclusive premium live event that we've ever had. It's 2024, guys. It took forever to get here, but let's relish in this moment. It's very exciting. WrestleMania 40 is shaping up to be one of the most historic WrestleManias ever. It's going to be right here in my state of Pennsylvania. Well, I would have said Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but those weirdos over there in Philadelphia, they believe that Philly is its own state, that they're not a part of the rest of PA. If you're from here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We are on TikTok. As you can see, all of our stuff is scrolling along the bottom. So please like, subscribe, share. We look forward to having conversations with each and every one of you. Please let us know what you like, what you dislike. We are so happy, and once again have to send a special shout out to our old producer D Rotten for getting us started the way you did. And Tyler wasn't here today. He is MIA at the moment. I don't know where he is. He might be working, or else I would have had him come on the show with me. But I'm looking forward to our next show, as I think we'll be doing a wrestler spotlight. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And until next time, I'm out.